And so we've reached the end of the Kakashi Anbu filler arc. Now, I gotta say that even though I've been dying for the canon material to come back, the material from the manga to come back, I feel a little mixed with this filler ending simply because, first of all, Kakashi, awesome character, love to see his perspective on things, and getting this wild ride of seeing his whole life story animated was a nice touch. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't flawless, there were some problems in the middle of it, but I gotta say that I definitely enjoyed seeing this character week after week and seeing everything that he went through, and it really gives you a different perspective on the character. And to be honest with you, after finishing this whole filler arc, it definitely makes me look at it in this way that Obito, yeah, he went through some shit. Yeah, he had, you know, his own set of troubles or whatever. But Kakashi went through the same amount of shit, if not more, because he just constantly had Obito and Rin's death hanging over his head. He was, to a certain degree, justified to be angry, to be hateful. And I feel this filler displayed just that. That he went through hell. And it wasn't until that very moment where he finally said, you know what? I'm never going to forget my comrades, but I'm going to move forward. And this episode was a final character development push to the Kakashi we know today and from, you know, the very beginning of the series. And it was interesting getting his, you know, mindset and what he was thinking when he was seeing them being selfish in the beginning of their, you know, training to become, you know, Team 7 or their little test of the bells and whatnot. It was really interesting to get his perspective on that. Now, prior to that, we got to find out the third Hokage planned all this because he felt if we have the Jinchuriki and we have someone with the Sharingan, then if he went wild, maybe we could have him to control him. And that was his whole plan all along, why he put them together. And then Sakura, I ain't gonna lie though, like, it was just like Sakura, oh yeah, she's just there in the middle. I guess he was thinking in his mind, like, okay, that'll be the Tsunade, except Tsunade over Sakura all the way. So I guess that was the third Hokage's mindset, but in all honesty, it was just like, Naruto, Jinchuriki kid, you know, crazy life, missing his parents. Sasuke, whole village wiped out, all alone, crazy strong, you know, hopefully we'll get the Sharingan. Kunoichi, Sakura. And it really is such a shame that after this episode we go back and we see what this person, one of the main things that pushed Kakashi forward, and like one of the main things that was held over his head nearly his entire life, Obito Uchiha, the person that every ideal that, you know, was ever spoken out of that kid's mouth, Kakashi absorbed, and, you know, he listened to that and he felt like he needed to abide by those type of ideals. Ultimately is not that person, and it's really just like a slap in the face to Kakashi and his entire life in a way when you look at it in that aspect. And just overall, as far as the filler goes leading up to the canon material, I guess it was a perfect point if you were going to do this material to do it, because literally the next episode is like Kakashi dealing with the fact that this person that I've, you know, just admired for my entire life is not the same person. He's actually alive, first of all, and then he's, you know, just with this fucked up mind state. So definitely it was a good point to put this filler if you were going to do this filler at any given point. Now, I guess I just wanted to take the opportunity. With this episode, it was a good episode for the most part. I'm glad that they didn't cover the entirety of, like, oh yes, the Team 7, the belt thing. For the most part, you got a little bit of it at the end. It was like at the 16, 17 minute mark, so it wasn't too overwhelming, because I know a lot of people were like, we don't need to see this material again regardless if it was Kakashi's perspective, but that was only a few minutes of the episode, so it didn't take up too much time, and it was just interesting to see it in Kakashi's perspective. It wasn't like, again, a masterfully told thing or anything like that, but just to get that little bit of him, you know, finally developing. Like, it was this episode, really, where you finally get to see that he's leaving his Anbu side behind. He's left the past. He's trying to move forward finally. He was looking forward to the future for the first time ever. So definitely a very good character development episode for Kakashi. This whole arc, for that matter, was a character development arc for Kakashi. But this final episode was purely character development for him. You know, getting the third, pushing it forward. The third was really trying very hard for Kakashi. I will give him credit for that. With all the shit that, you know, with him and Danzo and everything throughout this arc, he definitely was looking for the best interest in not only, you know, the team, but also with Kakashi, and this was what he, you know, could come up with at best, with having, you know, some broken people come together so that way they could have some sort of camaraderie and something in common, because, you know, Naruto, he had a broken life, he was a broken person. Sasuke, same thing. And then you just have like an average person and try to mold it all together with Sakura, and that's probably what he was thinking as well, with having Kakashi guide them. Kakashi's been through so much shit. You could see even to a certain degree that the third admired and respected a lot of what Kakashi went through and his ideals, because he sat there and he's listening to him and he's like, you know, when he was giving the story about the Sharingan and all the tragedy that it's followed behind, and it really just showed that the third Hokage respected Kakashi. And as a whole, this arc, I want to just mention real quick, It wasn't perfect. Again, there were some problems in the middle with Tenzo and whatnot, but even seeing that some of that stuff, and you know, you look back and you're like, oh shit, you know, they had some crazy adventures together too, and then you see them in this episode, and he still respects and admires Kakashi, and it really makes you want to go back in a way and see the very first time where Yamato takes over for Kakashi for a bit for Team 7. It really just makes you like, damn, you know, they did have some history, and it really makes you, you know, takes you back and whatnot. And I just think, even though some of that material wasn't all that good, it overall adds still to this arc and their relationship and Kakashi's character, because this is all about Kakashi at the end of the day. And I think that that was a nice milestone in a sense. So overall, I want to give this arc an 8.5 out of 10. It was a very good arc. It had some problems in it. It wasn't perfect, but it definitely was the best thing that you could do to represent Kakashi's life. And if you go back and marathon this shit, I'd imagine it'd be an incredible experience. You know, just grab the popcorn, look back and go through all the episodes. I think you'll enjoy it a hell of a lot more in that aspect. Even some of those middle episodes that kind of felt a little bit like, you know, dragging along, but as a whole, very solid. And just really, it gives you them feels when you think about this character Kakashi and all the shit that he's been through. Obito been through some shit, and you could argue that some of the shit that he's been through is, you know, it's real tragic, it's real fucked up shit. But Kakashi's been through just as much, and I think the only difference in how they turned out with all the tragedy that they had, Kakashi had good people behind him every step of the way, pushing and trying, please, you know, go the right path. Obito had some fucked up old man put all sorts of fucked up shit in his head and do all sorts of fucked up shit to him. So yeah, I'm gonna miss talking about Kakashi Anbu, because at the end of the day, it's also somewhat new material in a sense, because it's not from the manga directly or anything like that. But it did run its course, and it is time to get back to the canon. The next episode, I don't know if we're gonna have an episode next week or not, but the next episode will definitely be canon. So it's confirmed, the filler is over. So good news, sad news in a way, because again, I just gained so much of a different perspective of the character Kakashi, and I could, you know, I still, at this particular moment, my opinion now was I could have still gone for another few episodes of Kakashi just seeing his life, but we again reached the end of the road, and it is time indeed to return to the canon. So, what do you guys think of this one? Again, overall, this episode 7.5 out of 10. Overall, the arc 8.5 out of 10. It had a lot of very good moments. You know, you saw Kakashi, you saw Itachi, Tenzo, Third Hokage, Gonzo's piece of shit ass overstood his welcome, but we got to see how much of a dick he was. And what is your overall thoughts of the arc? Final impressions on Kakashi Anbu? Is it one of the best fillers? Do I think it's one of the best fillers? For the most part, I would say this is one of my favorite fillers. This is probably like top 3 fillers of all of Naruto, not just Shippuden, I would say. And as far as Shippuden goes, it's probably like top 2 for me as a toss-up, because I really did enjoy that power filler, but nonetheless, this was still an amazing filler, and I guess I would say it's my favorite filler. Now, I don't know if it's the best, but it's my favorite. But what do you guys think? Overall, final impressions on this episode as well? Did you enjoy getting to see Kakashi's character development? Because it did a phenomenal job with bringing him full, you know, circle from what he was to what he is now, and I definitely appreciate and respect that. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say, or if you enjoyed the video, then please drop me a like. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll put up world, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And never forget, a person who doesn't follow the rules is regarded as scum, but a person who abandons his comrades are even worse than scum.